There is a word to beef, isn't there? And I'm not getting that wrong, but I think so. I'm assuming I've got the word right. So today I'm going to beef, quite literally and figuratively, about the much hyped, deeply fraught, dubiously comprehensive UK US trade deal announced with triumphant fanfare by Trump and Starmer. Touted as an historic reset, it's being sold as an economic lifeline post Brexit, but in truth, it's more about tariff triage than global triumph. This isn't sweeping post Brexit global Britain. It's not the trade deal once prophesied by Theresa May, Boris Johnson, or Liz Truss, if you remember her. Instead, she's the person who's floating around the US at the moment, I believe, with the sort of close protection unit provided by the British taxpayer that Prince Harry would prefer. What did Liz Truss do to deserve that, I wonder? Instead, what we've got is a piecemeal agreement, a deal in concept, riddled with caveats and hedged with future negotiations. Yes, some tariffs are being lifted, most notably the 25% tariff, US tariff on British steel and cars. Pharmaceuticals are next in line for exemption, but the universal 10% US tariff still firmly in place, and many UK sectors from film to financial services are left dangling. So while Trump calls it full and comprehensive, it's more like partial and performative. Agriculture was always the elephant, or the white elephant, or the cow in the room, and the UK government insists it hasn't compromised food standards. This is the beef bit. No chlorinated chicken, no hormone-pumped beef, no US agro-dystopia. Instead, we're told there will be reciprocal arrangements or on high quality beef produced to UK standards. But this conjures images of US beef producers suddenly converting to British farming regulations, really. Have they swapped steroids for scones or scones? More likely, this fudge allows for just enough wriggle room to pacify Trump's rancher base without openly violating Britain's public health promises or jeopardising EU alignment. So yes, we've beefed up trade, but don't ask what's actually in the mince. To secure steel and car relief, the UK seems to have quietly offered concessions on digital services taxes, potentially sparing tech giants like Meta and Google from the 2% levy meant to keep them from avoiding UK tax, looser terms for agricultural imports like soybeans, nuts and wine, low-key enough not to trigger protest, but still a steep step towards US agro access. A vague strategic retreat from hard bargaining on pharmaceuticals, film and media, industries that define the UK's soft power and creative economy. Well, that's not enough, is it? If this is the beginning of Britain's trade revival, it's built on the premise of letting others write the small print. It is undeniably a political win for Starmer. He's delivered what 4 Conservative prime ministers failed to achieve. But the bar, frankly, was so low it was practically subterranean. We haven't achieved strategic autonomy. We've simply negotiated temporary breathing space from Trump's Liberation Day tariffs. And the economic boost, JP Morgan estimates a boost to GDP of 0.1%, 1%, 1/10 of a percent. That's the equivalent of turning a soggy sausage into a banquet. More dangerously, we risk being locked into the whims of a mercurial US president who uses tariffs like a toddler uses crayons, indiscriminately and destructively, and then they leave the crayon tops off. And so yes, let's beef about it, because let's beef about the British diplomacy being used to launder a transactional US tariff policy. Let's beef about the deals dressed as milestones but stitched together in haste to prevent a trade hemorrhage. And most of all, let's beef about governments, ours and theirs, treating economic substance as a sideshow while PR posturing takes centre stage. Let's beef about film. Let's beef about television, because if this is what global Britain looks like in the Trump era, reactive, concessionary and quietly compromised, let's roll over, let's give ourselves to the soggy sausage, then we might need more than beef to chew on. Perhaps a little humility and a dash of realism.